Hello and welcome to News 9. I'm Verghese Abraham. First up, the country is seeing an upward increase of COVID-19 cases in multiple states. The number of active cases now stands at 4,054 patients, with the highest number of cases being reported from Kerala. Visitors have been asked to wear masks at the Ernakulam Government Hospital after a rise in number of COVID cases. The new subvariant JN1 has made states to speed up their precautionary measures. The subvariant is gradually becoming dominant. It is not causing severe infections and hospitalizations, though. NSACOG Chief N.K. Arora had said that an additional dose of vaccine is not needed against the JN1 variant. Meanwhile, WHO urged the Southeast Asian countries to scale up surveillance and take protective measures. WHO has classified JN1 as a variant of interest. However, maintained that the overall risk posed by the subvariant remains low based on the current evidence. Karnataka, meanwhile, will be holding a cabinet subcommittee meet. The purpose is to deliberate on the recommendations put forth by the Technical Advisory Committee concerning additional steps to address the COVID-19 situation in the state. Well, the Indian Navy is set to commission its newest stealth-guided missile destroyer, Imphal, at Naval Dockyard in Mumbai. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh will be presiding over the ceremony as the chief guest. The induction of the Imphal destroyers marks the formal entry of the 3rd Visakhapatnam class of destroyers, crafted by the Indian Navy's Warship Design Bureau and built by Masgaon Docks Limited, Mumbai, into the Navy's fleet. An earthquake of magnitude 4.5 hit the Leh and Ladakh region at 4:33 a.m. in Thang village. There was another earthquake that has been reported from Kishtawar, and the authorities are still taking information from the local government there as to assess the kind of damage, if there's any, and to assess the requirements of supplies if required in that particular region. Meanwhile, India will be stepping up security with its Coast Guard and Navy in the Indian Ocean region. The development comes after there was an attack on merchant ships in the area. Iran has strongly refuted the U.S. claim that it attacked an Indian vessel in the Arabian Sea. A spokesperson of Iran's foreign ministry said, and I quote, U.S. accusation is baseless. Now, the Pentagon had accused Iran of launching a drone attack on the chemical tanker that was 200 nautical miles southwest of Veeraval coast in Gujarat on Saturday. The issue has become of prime importance for India's maritime security as well, with India asking the Coast Guard and its Navy to step up efforts to find out and to ensure that security is given against the drone strikes that have been continuously reported in the Indian Ocean region.
पश्चिमी अफ्रीकी देश लाइबेरिया का एक मर्चेंट शिप संयुक्त अरब अमीरात से निकला था। उसे हिंदुस्तान के मैंगलोर तट पर जाना था, लेकिन गुजरात के पोरबंदर तट से लगभग 220 नॉटिकल माइल पर अज्ञात मिसाइल या ड्रोन से इस शिप पर हमला किया गया था, जिसके बाद आग लग गई। उसके बाद में उस शिप पर मौजूद क्रू मेंबर्स ने मदद की मांग की भारतीय एजेंसियों से, जिसके बाद में कोस्ट गार्ड की शिप को रवाना किया गया था और 25 दिसंबर को अब ये शिप मुंबई पोर्ट ट्रस्ट पहुंची है। मुंबई के गेटवे ऑफ इंडिया के सामने से ही इस शिप को मुंबई पोर्ट ट्रस्ट की तरफ लेकर जाया गया है, जहां पर इस शिप में जो भी क्रू मेंबर्स हैं उनसे पूछताछ की जाएगी। साथ ही साथ में जो अज्ञात हमला किया गया था, पहले ये जानकारी दी गई थी कि ड्रोन अटैक है और उसके बाद में ये बात भी सामने आ रही है कि दरअसल एक मिसाइल अटैक भी हो सकता है। तो तमाम एजेंसियां जो है, कह सकते हैं कि मल्टीपल एजेंसियां जो है इस पूरे मामले की तफ्तीश में लगी हुई है। साथ साथ में जो क्रू मेंबर्स थे, कुल 22 क्रू मेंबर बताए जा रहे हैं, उन सभी से पूछताछ की जाएगी ताकि ये हमला कैसे हुआ और किस तरह का मलबा इस वक्त शिप पर मौजूद है उसको लेकर जानकारी इकट्ठा की जाए, क्योंकि ऐसा पहली बार हुआ है इतिहास में कि भारतीय समुद्री सीमा के अंदर जो है इस तरह का इतना बड़ा हमला हुआ है, किसी मालवाहक जहाज पर अटैक हुआ है, क्योंकि किसी भी देश में जो समुद्री सीमा होती है वो 200 नॉटिकल माइल की होती है और 200 नॉटिकल माइल के बाद यानी कि और अधिक 20 नॉटिकल माइल के आगे यह हमला समुद्री सीमा में किया गया, जो कि कहीं ना कहीं ये दिखाता है कि एक बड़ी साजिश हो सकती है, क्योंकि ये जो शिप है वो लाइबेरिया की शिप है, इसे हिंदुस्तान आना था। चूंकि पेंटागन की तरफ से ये बयान आया था कि इस हमले के पीछे ईरान हो सकता है, हूती का इस्तेमाल इस हमले के पीछे किया गया हो, इसे तमाम तरह के आकलन, तमाम तरह की बातें कही जा रही है। लेकिन हिंदुस्तान में इस शिप के एंट्री के बाद में इसे बॉम्बे पोर्ट ट्रस्ट लाया गया है, जहां पर मल्टीपल एजेंसियां इस पूरे मामले की तफ्तीश कर रही हैं।
Manipur Chief Minister Biren Singh has called for peaceful dialogue to end the present crisis. He also said that other than the hills and 2 districts, peace is being established. He said that all the stakeholders have been asked to come on a platform to push for peace in the region. He also added that tourism has been affected and that there has been a drop of 10 to 11% in tourists.
During the crisis, I told you, even in the Imphal, we cannot move. Just forget about the police also could not move. You know, crisis is crisis. But slowly now, Imphal is becoming normalcy. Like this, Kangpok Peace or Sanpur also will become normalcy. So we have to take time. We have to convince the people. Solving our problems, it will take time. But in the meantime, I will want to appeal to the all citizens of India, particularly those who are in Manipur and they're taking part in the present crisis, to stop violence, to start dialogue, peaceful dialogue. We have to live together again, and we have to resettle the displaced person in their respective places, and children has to go to schools. People have to do their works. So I would like to appeal to the concern to stop violence with the coming of the Christmas and the New Year. It is my earnest appeal from my side and from the government side as well as from the people of the Manipur side.
Roads in Himachal Pradesh are witnessing massive traffic congestion as several tourists have started to throng to the hill stations in the state for Christmas and New Year celebrations. In order to beat the traffic, a tourist found an ingenious way to beat the traffic by ditching roads for a drive across a river. Now, it has been said that in that particular video, the tourist was seen driving his SUV through the riverbed in the Chandra River area in Lahore Valley. These visuals have become viral and there have been several comments that have been passed on this particular aspect. It has been said that the person survived because the water level in the river was not at its usual levels, and that resulted in the person being able to use his SUV to take a detour from the traffic lanes in the area. The hill stations have been seeing traffic, and it is being reported that in Simla as well as other hill stations of Himachal Pradesh as well as in certain areas of Kashmir and Jammu too, there have been reports of snowfall along with certain traffic restrictions coming in as well. But in Simla, it's a huge traffic jam that has been reported. External Affairs Minister S. Jaishankar on Monday reached Moscow on a 5-day visit to meet the Russian leadership. Jaishankar will hold talks with his counterpart Sergei Lavrov and discuss various bilateral and global issues. He will meet Russia's Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Industry and Trade Denis Montorov to discuss matters related to economic engagement. He will also hold talks with his Russian counterpart Lavrov for discussion on bilateral, multilateral and international issues. This is the tweet that was put out by Dr. S. Jaishankar. An open and forward-looking interaction with the leading representatives of the Russian strategic community, spoke about the importance of rebalancing and the emergence of multipolarity, exchanged views on how India-Russia will develop in that framework. Also discussed connectivity, multilateralism, big power competition and regional conflicts. Geopolitics and strategic convergence will always keep India-Russia ties on a positive trajectory. Meanwhile, close to home, 2 drones dropped packets containing arms and cash, and this was found in an open field and recovered by the army and the police from that village area. This incident happened in Akhnur near the line of control. The packets are believed to have been dropped by the Pakistani drones for activities that help the ultras. Now, there have been noticing that this particular package was lying in an open field in Channi Davano village. The army and the police launched a joint operation immediately, and the packets were taken into custody and opened with the help of the bomb disposal squad, who revealed the contents inside the packet.
TV9 भारतवर्ष पे आज हम आपको दिखाएंगे पाकिस्तान की ड्रोन वाली साजिश के सबूत। हम दिखाएंगे कि किस तरीके से जम्मू कश्मीर पुलिस और सुरक्षा बलों ने पाकिस्तान की ड्रोन वाली साजिश को विफल किया। दरअसल 2 दिन पहले पाकिस्तान की तरफ से 4 आतंकियों को अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सीमा की तरफ भारतीय सेना ने देखा, जिसमें से 2 आतंकियों को सेना ने ढेर किया। इसी जगह पर भारतीय सेना की तरफ से और सुरक्षा बलों जम्मू कश्मीर पुलिस की तरफ से व्यापक सर्च ऑपरेशन चलाया गया, जिसके बाद जम्मू कश्मीर पुलिस को एक पैकेट मिलता है और साफ तौर पे ये दिखाता है कि किस तरीके से लगातार पाकिस्तान जो है वो ड्रोन के जरिए इस पैकेट के अंदर एक कंसाइनमेंट आती है, जिसको जम्मू कश्मीर पुलिस ने इसी इलाके खोड़ के अंतर्राष्ट्रीय सीमा के पास रिकवर किया। इससे क्या कुछ निकला ये हम आपको दिखा रहे हैं। ये देखिए, मेड इन इटली ये पिस्टल है जो इस कंसाइनमेंट में आई थी। उसके साथ साथ 2 यहां पर मैगजीन्स है, 35,000 रुपए कैश। और ये देखिए, अब हम वो सबूत दिखा रहे हैं जिसकी हम बात कर रहे हैं। पाकिस्तान ऑर्डिनेंस फैक्ट्री, इस पे साफ तौर पे लिखा हुआ है, ये मार्किंग है और ये दिखाती है कि किस तरीके से लगातार पाकिस्तान आतंकवाद को यहां पर स्पॉन्सर कर रहा है, ड्रोन के जरिए हथियार और ड्रग्स की खेप पहुंचाने का प्रयास कर रहा है। और उसके साथ साथ यहां पर ये 6 आईडीज जिसमें टाइमर और डेटोनेटर जो है वो लगाए गए थे। ये हैंड ग्रेनेड है जो इस कंसाइनमेंट में आई थी, लेकिन वक्त रहते यही वो जाबाज जम्मू कश्मीर पुलिस के जवान हैं जिन्होंने यहां पर व्यापक सर्च ऑपरेशन चलाया और यहां पर आतंकियों की ड्रोन वाली साजिश को विफल किया। लगातार पाकिस्तान में बैठे हुए आतंकी ये प्रयास कर रहे हैं कि बर्फबारी से ठीक पहले आतंकियों की घुसपैठ करवाई जा सके और आतंकियों तक जिस तरीके से जम्मू कश्मीर में पूरी कमर जम्मू कश्मीर पुलिस और सुरक्षा बलों ने तोड़ी है, हथियारों की कमी काफ़ी ज़्यादा आतंकियों के पास से देखने को मिल रही है। ऐसे में पाकिस्तान ड्रोन वाली साजिश को रच रहा है, जिसको आए दिन जम्मू कश्मीर पुलिस और सुरक्षा बल विफल कर रहे हैं। TV9 भारतवर्ष पे आप एक्सक्लूसिव तस्वीरें देख रहे हैं कि किस तरीके से पाकिस्तान की ड्रोन वाली साजिश को एक बार फिर सुरक्षा बलों ने विफल बनाया है।
We slip into a short break now. News and updates will continue on the other side.
This was intended to be a terrorist spectacular without precedent.
The plan was to bomb 2 Air India passenger aircrafts simultaneously.
There was a loud explosion and the whole plane just vanished.
The police dropped the ball, the intelligence officers dropped the ball, and the politicians dropped the ball.
It was a conspiracy that destroyed my life. It destroyed 331 lives.
News is now content. Just stream it. Download the world's first news OTT, News9 Plus, ahead of the curve. The following content may contain visuals that are disturbing, graphic, or sensitive in nature. Viewer discretion is advised. This material is intended for mature audiences and may not be suitable for all viewers. Please exercise caution while watching, and if you find such content distressing, we recommend discontinuing viewing. This disclaimer is provided to ensure awareness and to prioritize viewer well-being.
Welcome back. It's been 81 days since Hamas's first attack on Israel. Since then, nearly 21,000 Gazans have lost their lives in the conflict between Israel and Hamas. Let's get you the latest update from the war zone on your screen. Egypt has now proposed a three-phase plan to end the war between Israel and Hamas. At least 250 people have been killed in the last 24 hours in central Gaza. This is according to the Gaza Health Ministry. Netanyahu, meanwhile, has said that it's going to be a long fight in the Israel-Hamas war. He's ready to encourage Palestinians in Gaza to leave the enclave, is what Netanyahu has said. Netanyahu heckled by families of hostages during the Knesset session. Pope, meanwhile, has called for a ceasefire and release of the hostages in a Christmas Day message. 20,674 Palestinians have been killed in the Gaza war so far. Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu vowed to keep up the fight against Hamas terrorists on Monday, while Palestinians mourned over 100 people who the Gaza officials said were killed overnight in Israeli airstrikes.
The Israeli government on Monday released footage of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu clad in a helmet and Kevlar vest, arriving by tank to greet soldiers inside the Gaza Strip. He tells them the war is not over. It will end in total victory, no less than that. His remarks come after reports that the leaders of Hamas, the Palestinian Islamist group that governed Gaza, rejected an Egyptian proposal that they relinquish power in the enclave in exchange for a permanent ceasefire. That's according to two Egyptian security sources who spoke to Reuters on Monday. An official from Hamas later denied what the sources said about the talks. Fighting in Gaza erupted after Palestinian fighters rampaged through Israeli communities on October 7th, killing 1,200 and taking hundreds of captives. Israel retaliated with a full-blown invasion aimed at eradicating Hamas and bringing the captives home. Punishing airstrikes and ground maneuvers have transformed cities into wastelands, and Gaza's health ministry said last week the death toll had topped 20,000. Thousands more are believed buried beneath the rubble. The last 48 hours have been particularly deadly. At least 70 people were killed in an Israeli airstrike on the Mughazi refugee camp in the middle of the Gaza Strip. A warning to viewers, this video includes graphic images of death and destruction. Ibrahim Mohammed Al-Haj Yusuf lost his wife and 4 children in the attack. He told Reuters, quote, "My wife and children are still trapped inside. I only managed to uncover my eldest son, Mohammed. What fault did they have? Why did this happen to them? It's not their fault. The world watches us die and being slaughtered. Are these the resistance? They are innocent children." The Israeli army said it was reviewing the report of the Mughazi strike and was committed to minimizing harm to civilians. Israel says Hamas operates in densely populated areas and uses civilians as human shields, which Hamas denies. Egypt and Qatar have shuttled between Hamas and Israel in an effort to reach some kind of a ceasefire that might provide for the return of hostages and the delivery of humanitarian aid. The Egyptian sources said that Hamas had rejected offering any concessions beyond the possible release of more hostages in exchange for a permanent ceasefire. Israel says it would consider a temporary pause in fighting in exchange for prisoners, but it would not consider a permanent ceasefire that leaves Hamas in control of Gaza. The footage released by Israel showed Netanyahu glad-handing with combat soldiers who pledge until the end. But back in Parliament that day, he faced heckling from some hostages' families. They chanted, "Now, now, now," and demanding that he pursue the release of captives at all costs. Netanyahu responded that an earlier ceasefire, which resulted in the release of some 100 captives, would not have happened without military pressure on Hamas, More than 100 Israelis are believed still held hostage in Gaza.
The families of hostages gathered at the main gate of the Israeli Defense Ministry complex in Tel Aviv, awaiting the security cabinet ministers to plead for the rescue of their family members. The protesters laid out hourglasses indicating that time is running out for each of the hostages still in Hamas captivity.
I don't know who is going to come, but if it will be the Prime Minister, I will tell him that he is responsible to what happened in October 7, and he needs to fix it. He needs to bring them back as soon as possible, because they don't have any time over there in the tunnels, and their life are in danger. And we hope that they will make a deal as soon as possible, because we need to save them.
We're standing here because the cabinet is gathering here to discuss a deal, the deal that's on the table, and we're here to tell them that they have our back and that we trust them and believe them that they can make brave decisions, and we expect them to do anything they can to bring back the hostages now.
On Monday, Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu stated that Israel would not succeed in freeing the remaining hostages held in Gaza without applying military pressure. Meanwhile, family members of the hostages sat in the chamber looking down on the premier, holding posters of their relatives behind the plexiglass and intermittently interrupting him.
פגשתי אותה בנסיבות וכמה פעמים. הצגות כאן. הם זקוקים לתרופות האלה, חלק ממש זקוקים להם, להצלת חיים. ואמרתי לה, קחי את הארגז הזה, קחי אותו, תעבירי אותו. אומר לי, אותו הדבר, הגשש חלם, וחברו עוז. חייבים להמשיך. ודברים דומים אני שומע מבני המשפחות של הנופלים אמיצי הלב. ובכן לכם, לוחמי צה"ל, ולכם המשפחות הדואבות וקרובי החטופים, אני אומר גם מעל הבמה הזאת, אנחנו לא עוצרים ולא נעצור עד לניצחון, כי אין לנו ארץ אחרת ואין לנו דרך אחרת. אני רוצה להגיד לכם, חברי הכנסת ומשפחות יקרות, לא היינו מצליחים לשחרר עד כה למעלה מ100 מן החטופים בלי הלחץ הצבאי. כל הלחצים שאנחנו מפעילים, המדיניים, המודיעיניים, מאמצים רבים אחרים, לא היו צולחים בלי הלחץ הצבאי. ואנחנו לא נצליח לשחרר את כל החטופים בלי לחץ צבאי. לחץ צבאי, לחץ מבצעי, לחץ מדיני. ולכן דבר אחד לא נעשה. לא נפסיק להילחם. חטיבה.
אלוף משנה סדיר.
כן. הוא אלוף משנה סדיר, זה אני יודע.
On Monday, the Israeli military released footage of strikes on Hezbollah targets in Lebanon, showing IDF fighter jets hitting series of locations. In a statement, the IDF mentioned that they targeted military compounds and operational infrastructure. Now, it is being said that these were supposed to be command and control centers for Hezbollah activities at the border, and therefore the IDF went ahead and destroyed this infrastructure. The A340 aircraft with 303 Indian passengers that was grounded in France over suspected human trafficking landed in Mumbai in early hours of Tuesday. Now, the aircraft was headed to Nicaragua but was grounded on a technical halt last week by authorities at the Maritime airport in France. The flight was headed from Dubai to Nicaragua. The Indian embassy coordinated with the French authorities to fly the aircraft back to Mumbai. The plane was grounded after a tip-off from the people inside and it was said that the airlines was allegedly involved in human trafficking. The anonymous tip led to the French authorities swinging into action and opening an investigation. India has given consular access to the 303 passengers aboard, and there was some who have in fact sought asylum in France itself. So what has 2024 got to do with politics and what we can expect in that year? Now, Donald Trump has appealed to a Washington, D.C. court to dismiss charges related to subverting the 2020 elections. In a filing on December 23rd, Trump's lawyers argued that he is immune from liability for actions taken while serving as president. This move follows the U.S. Supreme Court's decision not to expedite a request by the special counsel, Jack Smith, to consider the question of presidential immunity from prosecution. The filing maintains that Trump has acting in an official capacity to ensure election integrity and therefore is immune from criminal prosecution for official acts. The mastermind behind the 26/11 Mumbai terror attacks, Hafiz Saeed, has launched a new political front organization, the Pakistan Markazi Muslim League, fielding candidates for various national and provincial assembly constituencies in Pakistan's upcoming February 8 general elections. Saeed is founder of Lashkar-e-Taiba, which is the terror organization that is in fact required of meeting with a lot of criteria set off by the international organizations, especially for its involvement in terror activities in India. He has been in jail since 2019 for terror finance convictions. PMML aims to establish an Islamic welfare state, contesting under the symbol of a chair. PMML President Khalid Masood Sindhu is in a video message, in fact, expressed the party's intent to serve the people and emphasized their goal of making Pakistan an Islamic welfare state. Sindhu, a candidate for the NA 130 Lahore, denied any link between PMML and Hafiz Saeed's outfit, despite Saeed's son Tala Saeed contesting from Lahore's NA 127. The political phase of Judd in 2018, Muslim League MML had failed to secure seats in the elections. The PMML emerges for the 2024 polls due to the ban on MML. Hafiz Saeed, a UN-designated terrorist with a USD of 10 million bounty for the US, leads Judd, the front organization for LET, responsible for the 2008 Mumbai attacks that claimed 166 lives. We slip into a short break now. News and updates will continue on the other side.
Seeing is believing. Or is it? These are your favorite celebrities that you saw in the videos. But what if I told you that they are not?
Today, deepfake is one of the biggest challenges that the digital ecosystem is facing.
Cannot identify what is deepfake and what is real.
We have seen Rashmika Mandana go through the same thing, and this is becoming a common problem.
Everybody is going to be targeted.
The execution is there's a laxity in our regulatory execution. In times to come, that is going to cost us a lot.
This was intended to be a terrorist spectacular without precedent.
The plan was to bomb 2 Air India passenger aircrafts simultaneously.
There was a loud explosion and the whole plane just vanished.
The police dropped the ball, the intelligence officers dropped the ball, and the politicians dropped the ball.
It was a conspiracy that destroyed my life. It destroyed 331 lives.
News is now content. Just stream it. Download the world's first news OTT, News9 Plus, ahead of the curve.
Pakistani spy agency ISI's sinister plan to target India. Training women to honey trap top civil and military officials. Counter honey trapping ops initiated by India. But gullible victims still caught in the web. Top military intelligence experts break down the web of deception. Colonel Hani Bakshi explains the phenomena of honey trap.
जहाँ पे भी आपको लगेगा, उनको लगेगा कि there is a person who is susceptible to women, who's making a lot of women friends on the social media. That is where they will make a spoof account and then start luring the person.
Colonel Pavitran Rajan decodes the psyche of the victim and the predator.
But when you go up the chain, no one enforces it to people at the top. That disciplinary regime and the security regime is not enforced at the top. And they usually have a public profile where it is much more easier to approach that person.
A News9 special on how modern technology has added teeth to the ancient spying tactic.
Our story takes you inside Pakistan's honey trap machine.
This and more, streaming on world's first news OTT, News9 Plus. Download now.
Following the opposition protests over election results in Serbia, 8 policemen were injured and 38 individuals were detained, as confirmed by the head of the Serbian police. Police reported that officers guarding the city hall refrained from intervening for 3 hours, hoping the violence would not escalate. Protesters eventually broke windows and glass at the main entrance of the city hall, prompting the police to use pepper spray to disperse them. The opposition, led by the centre-left alliance Serbia Against Violence, announced that the protests were continued, with students planning to block traffic in the Serbian capital. In the recent snap parliamentary elections, the ruling Serbian Progressive Party secured 46.72% of the votes, according to preliminary results from the State Election Commission. Serbia Against Violence came in second with 23.56%, followed by the Socialist Party of Serbia with 6.56%. Missing Russian opposition leader Alexei Navalny has been located at a prison colony above the Arctic Circle. This nearly 3 weeks after he was last seen. News of Navalny's sighting has been propounded by his own associates. Navalny's spokesperson Kira Yamash said on X, formerly Twitter, that Navalny was located in the prison colony in the town of Karp in Yamalo-Nenets, which is located about 2,000 kilometers northeast of Moscow. Navalny, the most prominent foe of Russian President Vladimir Putin, has handed over a jail sentence of 19 years on charges of being involved in extremist activities. He had been serving his sentence in a prison located in central Russia, but he had been missing since December 6th after reports emerged that Navalny had fever and had collapsed in his prison cell. Well, overnight, Russia launched 31 drones and 2 missiles at Ukraine, primarily targeting the southern regions. Ukrainian air defenses successfully destroyed 28 drones and both missiles. The attack originated from Russian-occupied Crimea. 2 Russian military aircraft were down near Mariupol and Donetsk, as reported by Ukrainian military officials. No damage or casualties have been reported by military and civilian authorities. Both sides reported downing enemy aircraft in different areas of the 1,000-kilometer-long front of their 22-month-old war. We step on a short break now. News and updates will continue on the other side.
The circumstances that prevailing today in the subcontinent are very volatile, they're very explosive, they're very dangerous.
Pakistanis, they sent Pakistani armies led by Punjabi generals, whether it was General Tikka Khan or General A.K. Khan Niazi, to oppress Bengalis in Bengal.
I don't think we can shut our eyes to the situation in a neighboring state.
There was this whole exploitation of East Pakistan, people of East Pakistan, or rather Bengalis of East Pakistan, by West Pakistan. There was an economic exploitation, there was a racial discrimination, there was a cultural subjugation. So it continued for 24 years before things came to a head in 1971.